So, good morning. So, we're doing Conversion Express today, where you're going to get website strategies to get more leads delivered in 15 minutes or less. These are meant to be simple, bite-sized, doable, so you can implement them within minutes. Let's get going here. So, today's topic is 2 more tips to get more clicks. This is all about button copy. Part 2. This is the last of one of 2 parts. Let's get into it. First tip is to make your button obvious. It's actually been proven that just sometimes changing the color of the button copy can get more clicks. That's all we're interested in doing right now. We're not interested in figuring out, are these best fit leads for me or anything like that. We're just trying to get more people to click our buttons. Okay. So on the homepage of Unstoppable Women in Business, you see that they have this is their button that they have, Let's Talk. But it's kind of hidden, isn't it? It's not super obvious. And we're seeing more people kind of what's called banner blindness. We're starting to ignore things we're seeing at the top. And so because of that, like 10 years ago, this would have been a new thing. Banners were seen all the time, but now that they've become so common, we're not noticing them. So to get somebody to notice what we want them to notice, we need to use other strategies. Okay, so if we wanted more people just to click the Let's Talk button, let's do this. We're going to change just the color. That's the first thing we're adding, is this pop of color that grabs our attention, because there's no other this kind of magenta color on the page. So it automatically grabs our attention. And that's an important thing to remember, is that do not use a brand color that you've got other colors going on the page. So if your brand colors, let's say, is like teals and greens, don't make your button teals and greens. Make it like orange or something like that. And that's the only time you use that orange color is on a button. Okay, we want it to pop. That's the first thing we're going to do. The second thing we're going to do is we're moving this to eye level. We've added 2 buttons. We're moving it higher up and making it eye level. And it just kind of helps draw the attention to these buttons. And I added 2 buttons, not 1, because when we have 1 button, the question that goes on in our minds is, should I click the button? But when we have 2 buttons, we're more likely to think, should I click that button or this button? Okay, so just by adding a second button, you're automatically increasing the chances of one of them being clicked. Okay, so that is 2 ways: the color, adding a second button, moving it, I guess 3 ways, moving it to eye level. Those are 3 ways you can automatically start getting more clicks on your buttons. And this is tip number 2. It's called removing friction, which is in some ways similar to neutralizing anxiety, which I spoke about in part 1. So on Lisa Workman's website, she has this going on her homepage, and it's a book an appointment. So here she's got an obvious button. It's nice and big, so we see it. We can't miss it. The color is a little muted. I would probably change the color out. But the ask that she has, the copy on the button, book an appointment, is a very big ask to ask people to do, because you're now asking them to take a next big step. It's no longer, I'm on your website and I'm seeing you on social. Now you're asking me to meet you, to book a time on your calendar that works with me and pay you. So it's a big ask for people to book an appointment, especially because 97, a huge amount of people coming to your website are not ready to take that first step. So let's say we didn't want to change this first step. Let's say we wanted to keep the call to action to book an appointment, though. Okay, let's just say. So what we're going to do is we're going to soften the ask, okay? And we're changing the button copy. So I'm applying what I spoke about in tip number 1 by making the button really pop, right? So they really see it. And now we've removed the calendar icon. We've changed the button copy by, say, try 1 session. That sounds a lot easier, doesn't it? So we're removing the friction of what sounds like a big commitment to now a lesser commitment, where we're just asking you to try. It's like asking someone to just take a bite of something that they kind of look at and they're like, I'm not sure if I want to, right? Just take one bite. Okay, I can take one bite, right? That's what we're doing with try one session. Then below the button copy, we're going to add a testimonial. And the testimonial does two things. First of all, it's social proof. So we could also add the name of the person that said this, but it still is social proof because it's a quote, which means that someone has tried this. And then when we read the experience that they had, it kind of helps to reduce some of that anxiety or any kind of friction going on where they're like, I'm not really sure. But now they're like, okay, she said exercising was fun. It was enjoyable. Okay, maybe I can try one session. Maybe I can do this, right? And so just those three things alone, changing the color, changing the copy on the button, adding the testimonial, you're going to get more clicks during that. Now, I wanted to present an alternative here. And let's say you've got three options. You have three services that you're presenting, and you want people to click on a service, okay? So Lindsay here, she has learn more as the three call to actions, which means she's basically saying, it doesn't matter to me which one of these you pick, it's up to you. But let's say Lindsay really wants to sell more of event, photo, and video. She wants to sell more of those services. She finds she makes a lot more money with a lot less time. Whatever her reasoning is, she wants to sell more of this middle option. And so there's something we can do without changing the button copy on the other two. Okay. And just actually as a side, there are places where I would use the copy learn more, but more likely in places where I wanted to actually de-emphasize the button copy. I really didn't want people to select those options. I really want people to select something else. So don't use learn more and think that's great button copy to get clicks. It actually isn't, because learn implies work. So that is just an aside for you. So let's say, like I said, she wants to sell more of this middle option. Well, what if we made the button bigger? We put it in a bright color that stands out from the other two. And we take some of what she said here on this last sentence. She said, event photos make great mementos and help sell tickets to your future events. That is like, if I am someone who hosts a lot of events, I want to fill seats for an event that's coming up in the future. And so let's put that kind of language in the button copy by saying, I want to sell tickets at future events. So we are tapping in to a desire that they have, an outcome that they want. They're more likely to click that button if this is what they're looking for. And so just by making that one change, we are directing and letting people know we really want you to click this middle button here, especially if that resonates with you. So that is all I have for you this week. Next week, we're going to be talking about headlines. So stay tuned next week, and you guys have a fantastic weekend.